All right. Just moving on past that, just what are resources available? What are kind of like textbooks or articles I can be? What are some conductors I can be watching? Just what are some extra resources that the young conductor can access so they can improve their practice, improve their knowledge?
Yeah, so whatever text is used in your conducting course at your university is probably what you should be reading. We use Basic Conducting Techniques by Joseph Labuda. This is the 7th edition. The great thing about this edition, it's a little bit pricier, but when you purchase it, you get access to a library of PDFs of those excerpts and those scores so that you can download them to a tablet or print them off for your own practice. Plus, it gives you access to a music library where there are MIDI recordings that you can use as reference recordings. So that's really pretty nice in an ensemble where, you might not have a full instrumentation to play a grade 2 or grade 3 piece. It's a good alternative. The Modern Conductor by Elizabeth Green, that is a book that every conductor should read and should possess a copy of. Elizabeth Green is the grandmother of conducting, modern conducting as we know it. And still a lot of the principles and exercises that she talks about in this book are used to this day. And it's she's one of the pillars in the profession in regards to conducting and being able to go from just a living metronome to a communicator of music from the podium. Another book that I'm a really big fan of is The Conductor's Gestures. By James Jordan. So it starts talking about body mapping and use of Laban gestures as additions to your repertoire as a conductor. And so I'm a pretty big nuts and bolts. Do this and then this happens after that kind of guy. So this book pretty clearly outlines a lot of that. And just being able to do certain set exercises that will eventually help you connect what you have in your mind and what you want to be able to show physically. That's another one. Another book that I'm a big fan of is Artistic Nuance by Ed Lisk. It doesn't talk about the basics of conducting. It talks about the aesthetics of music. But I think that's something that beginning conductors have a hard time connecting with. Is because they're learning all of these individual skills. They're learning body muscle memory, physical coordination, and they completely forget about the reason why they need to learn that. And so I think that book does a good job of being able to kind of fill in the gaps to be able to help with that. So those are some resources, some textbooks, videos. I'm a huge fan of Jerry Junkin and Mallory Thompson, and so I watch videos of them conducting and videos of their students conducting as well. The list goes on and on and on, but those two are probably the top two wind conductors that I really enjoy watching and that I try to learn from and be able to explore space by watching them conduct. I just am absolutely enamored by how they're able to move musically, but then at the same time to be able to, when they need to, be able to conduct like a basic conductor. Here's where one is. Here's the basic pattern, and how they're able to just be able to switch hats all the time. So those are some resources that I utilize. One thing that I wanted to double back on, beginning conductors are sometimes taught that there are 3 hinges. I would like to propose that there are 4 hinges. So you have your shoulder, your elbow, and your wrist, but you also have your fulcrum, the point of grip where you meet the baton. I just wanted to put that in. That's something that I spend time on, is understanding what does it mean to move from your fulcrum just with your fingers versus fingers with residual wrist versus only wrist and then only elbow and then only shoulder too. So being able to utilize each of those hinges will allow you to have more control and be able to communicate more, giving you more options to show. So that was an aside, and then the resources, those are the resources that I would recommend.
And just a quick kind of thing, a lot of times these textbooks or resources might be a little bit pricier and stuff like that. I got my own copy of The Modern Conductor. I found a first edition on Amazon, and usually you can find these are in bookstores, used versions, or oftentimes your teachers and professors at your university might have copies of these books that they're willing to let you borrow. Like Dr. Wimmer let me borrow The Conductor's Gesture. So you don't necessarily have to go out and buy all these things because these things can go expensive and stuff, but just you got resources.
Another resource that you can utilize too, there are a lot of conducting symposiums and a lot of conferences that will put PDFs of articles, lob and gesture techniques, physical body mapping stuff. There's a lot of resources out there online. Just doing a simple Google search for how to be, conducting handout or lob and handout or basic conducting handout, you'll probably find a PDF or at least an image that you can just kind of grab and be able to utilize as well too, without having to go through and buy, drop $40 on a textbook or $80 on a textbook. So, basic Googling can help you find a lot of that stuff too.